When I get back, I find Harry on the windowsill, looking outside. And despite when he sees me, he smiles suddenly, a bell of alarm rings instantly in my head in seeing him in exactly the same position as yesterday. I must find a solution to this. I cannot stay much longer. I need to be back to Hugo, and I need to sort out the divorce from Ron. But how can I possibly leave him here in this condition? What did you do while I was away? I asked cheerfully, sitting in front of him. He shrugs. No much. I've done some thinking. What about? He is motionless, looking outside, and doesn't give me an answer. Then he says, When you moved to Romania, despite it had been an idea of mine, I hated it. I didn't like you being so far away. But it was the only possible solution, right? Nothing else could be done. I guess so. We couldn't stay here any longer. And I don't think Ron will ever be able to return. He nods. I wonder if it would be a good choice for me too. I look at him inquiringly. Coming to Romania, you mean? Look, Harry, I don't think it's wise, Ron. But he interrupts me, chuckling. I know. Ron would strangle me at the first chance. Come here. He beckons me to go to him, which I do. He enfolds me with his arms as I lean my back against his chest, resting my head close enough to his own to feel his beard tickling my face. When are you going away? He asks me softly. I don't know, but soon. He kisses my head, whispering in my ear sadly, How will I do without you? My heart, that already wasn't behaving as it should, now it lurches frenziedly, and I know that this parting will be very hard to accomplish. You will do just fine. You'll see. I try to reassure him. You just need to find something to keep yourself busy. Get out in the open air as much as possible. Do some sport. Go and visit the Barrow, Ted, or George. You are not alone, you know. Cook yourself some meals. It will be a good chance to improve your cooking. He laughs softly. Yeah, I could do that. Why not? But then we fall back in our despondency, and I can almost hear the seconds that mark my countdown in this house running away. What can I do to help him? What would make me feel better in his situation? What can bring some happiness in this house, some serenity in his mind, some occupation in his life? And as I'm formulating these questions, a brainwave makes me gasp, startling Harry. I know what I can do. I'm in front of Harry's doors only a few hours later. We had lunch together, and I could perceive his struggle to keep away dejection. We chatted the whole meal, but as soon as his mind was drifting away, I could see gloom settling down. I got out with an excuse. I left him as usual on the windowsill looking outside. I didn't share my plan with him, not sure of his approbation, but I decided to be bold and follow my instincts that almost always have been proved correct. The plump, tiny arms of the solution are fastened around my neck. At the sight of the entrance, she gets so wild, fretting so much, I can barely open the door with the only free hand I got. It's not open yet, and she is already screaming madly to be put down, shrilling at the top of her tiny lungs, Daddy! 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 I'm home! I ought to let her down in haste before she tumbles down by the excitement. She starts to run the alleyway as Harry, dazed, wide-open eyes, surface from the living room. Sunrise, seeing him, brighten up in a huge beam, her chubby legs amble fast over him, outstretching her arms in the air to behold. Harry is utterly stunned by this apparition, but in unconquerable instinct, he stoops down on his knees to take her. She throws herself energetically in that embrace, holding on his neck and smacking a loud kiss on his cheek. "I'm home, Daddy, I'm home!" she keeps on chirping. And I see Harry's mouth moving, trying to pronounce her name. And then, as if realizing only at that moment she's really there in his arms, he squeezes her as abundant tears start to fall from his eyes. He buries his head in her thick dark hairs and kisses her head shaken by silent sobs. He scoops her up and sits against the wall, keeping her tight as she's still twittering, "I'm home, Daddy, you see?" "Yes, I see, sweetie. You're home," he managed to say with a smile after a gulp. "Why are you crying?" she says, stuffing a thumb in her mouth. He takes it away gently. "Because I'm happy to see you, my darling." "I'm happy too!" she shrills, delighted. "I know," he answers, smiling. Then he rubs his face and takes a big breath. "So, how did you behave with Grandma and Grandpa? Have you been a good girl?" She nods, eager. "Yes, Daddy. Grandpa pushed me on the swing and I made cookies with Grandma." "Did you? Were they any good?" She nods energetically, all her curls bouncing around her face. "Yes," she booms, rummaging in the pocket of her green dress, taking out an half-crumbled cookie. "You try," she orders, pushing it against Harry's mouth, that smiling receive it. He makes a grimace, starting to cough flatly. "When did you make this, sweetie?" he asks, after managing to swallow it down. "Tomorrow!" she exclaims, assured. "Do you like it?" "Very much," he answered, chuckling. "Your beard is long," she said, rubbing his cheek. "You didn't shave." "No, my darling, for a long time." "Why? Because Mommy's not here?" He stares at her a moment, speechless. Then fresh tears pour from him. "I guess so," he manages to say in the end. She looked at him pensively, curling up against his chest. "Grandma say Mommy's gone away." He nods, bowing his head on her own, his face contorted in a vain effort to keep back tears. And what am I doing while this exchange is going on? Obviously, I'm still on the threshold, watching them. And obviously, I'm weeping like a baby. My intuition was good. But it's all Hugo's merit. When I got back to Romania, the joy I felt seeing him lighting up and running toward me gave me this idea. I knew it would have touched Harry's heart to see her again, despite his refusals. And I know that all what he needed was to feel loved again, and to love in return. It is what we all want at the end of the day. This is what he will do now. He will take care of his daughter. And I sleep on the floor, against the wall, beside the door still open, observing them chatting, completely oblivious of my presence. "Daddy, I had a dream," Sunrise says pensively after a while. Harry lifts his head, suddenly, and stares at her. "What did you dream about?" "The sea," she says, her eyes gleaming, "and the big white house." He keeps looking at her, bewildered. "The sea, did you say?" She nods. "And I played with the sand," she adds, toying with the edge of her dress. "I see," he only replied, thoughtful. "Daddy?" she says, serious after a few seconds more. Yes, my darling. I need to pee, she answers, looking straight into his eyes. Harry startles to attention. Pee? Okay, right, he says, standing up quickly, lifting her, at which she laughs gaily. And as they disappear in the bathroom, I stand up too, closing the door. We are around the kitchen table. I cooked dinner for everybody. Sunrise is clean and glowing after Harry made her take a bath, and he is fresh shaven. She is all intent on feeding him, dipping her spoon clumsily in her soup, blowing on it and stuffing it in his mouth. Do you like it? She asks as she feed him another half-empty spoon. Aunt Minnie made it. She twitters brightly after having gulped down the one Harry gave her. Yes, I do very much. Aunt Hermione cooks very well, doesn't she? He says, winking at me. Yes, she says, frowning, concentrating in taking another spoon of her soup. I'm going to learn to do it too, he says, cleaning her mouth with her bib, so I'll be able to cook nice dinners for you. Like Mommy? She asks, toying now with the soup left in the plate. He takes gently the spoon away from her fingers and starts to feed her the remaining meal. Yes, like Mommy, he says, trying to keep his smile on. After dinner and night preparation, we sit all together on the sofa, listening to Sunrise in her soft pyjama, chatting away happily. At 9 o'clock, when her eyelids start to drop, Harry lays her down on the pillow and covers her with the duvet, lying down close to her, keeping her hand and watching her slumbering. I slip from the sofa to turn off the light. I take my book and I go to the kitchen, feeling positive that things are only going to improve from now on. Leo is waiting behind the window. I open it and he pops inside. There is a scroll attached to his leg. It's the lawyer. There are all the papers to commence the divorce procedure. I sit on the chair, studying them, and I sigh. This is what I want. I'm sure of it. Yet it takes all my courage to take a will and sign them. I know a hard time is waiting for me. The hardship will be many and great. And I know my reward will be only solitude, as I know Ron will hate me forever for this. But I need to start a new life and try, bit by bit, to get free from these chains that are binding me. This is the first step. Therefore, my signature is needed. I get profit from Leo's presence, knowing that George won't mind, to start a letter for Charlie informing him that I will be back very soon. And, going a moment to peer in the living room, I see Harry sleeping soundly close to his daughter, their heads touching, the curse mingle, and I'm now positive I won't need to return here again. After a few hours, I'm still awake, sipping an herbal tea and reading a book, when a noise informs me that Harry is awake. He enters the kitchen, rubbing his eyes and closing the door behind him. I nodded off, he says after a yawn as he sits close to me. What are you reading? He asks, peering over the pages. I show him the cover. He reads the title, frowns, and mumbles. Another of your Hermione-ish incomprehensible books. I chuckle. It's actually very interesting, I say, pretending to be offended and slapping him playfully on the shoulder with the book. He laughs as he stands to make himself some tea too. I must thank you again, I guess, he says, sitting again close to me. What would have been my life without you? I smile. I must say, flattered. It would have been totally fine, I answer, and probably more relaxed without me badgering you every time, I conclude. Nope, he says, shaking his head. I would be dead. Let's see, at least He starts to count on his fingers playfully and then shrugs, many times over. And now I would be very lonely and miserable. It seems that you know better what is good for me. I smirk, not raising my eyes from my book that I am anyway not reading. Hermione, he says, then serious to catch my attention, taking a sip from his cup. I'm leaving. I glance at him, consternated. What? I blurt out. Where? No, Harry, no! I bellow, almost in a way. What about sunrise? Where do you want to go? I rant madly, shrugging his hand, trying to reach out for me. No, Hermione. But I interrupt him brusquely. You must take care of her. He tries again to speak, but I stand up in agitation. You cannot do that! You saw how Sunrise is happy to be with you. You cannot leave her alone. No, I won't allow you to. I gabble, pointing an accusing finger against his chest. You won't go anywhere. Okay, Hermione, calm down now, he says, stern, standing up, putting both his hands on my shoulders to prevent my ranting from starting again, as he bows to stare into my eyes. You misunderstood. Sit down and listen to me. I comply, calming down instantly under his stare. Take a big breath and a sip of your tea, he orders me, and I obey again as a robo, my mind blank. Better? He asks after I follow these orders. I nod, waiting for an explanation. He takes my hand. I'm leaving England. With sunrise. Albus and James too if they want to come, even though I doubt they will. I'm going to move far afield, in a place where there are only muggles. I'll change my name, and I'll start a new life there. I'm speechless. I look at him, and at his hand on mine. My mind totally incapable to form any straight thought. But why? I only manage to stammer. He laughs softly, and then arches his eyebrows, looking straight at me with a sly smile. The why has been under your eyes since we are 11. I cannot have a normal life here, nor where magical people are present. I should have done it a long time ago. I should have saved my life from all of it, he says, waving his head toward the window. But I'm still on time to save Sunrise and myself. I just want to have a normal life like everybody else. I want to be able to speak with a person without being recognized and courted. I want to find people who can appreciate me without bias for a change. I want Siri to have a normal life. He stared at me with his green eyes that overpowers me as usual. Is it so unreasonable? He concludes. It takes me some time to find my voice, buried under my reasoning. I'd like to believe there is another way, but despite my inside is squirming against this notion only because I don't want him so far away, I know that he is right. This is the only way. Therefore, I nod. No, it is not. I think you are right, I admit. He pats my hand, smiling. I knew you would have backed me up. When are you going? He shrugs. As soon as I can. I'll start tomorrow to make all the necessary preparation. I need to update my Muggle passport with my new name and procure one for Sunrise. I'll go to Hogwarts to speak with the boys. I'll say farewell to everybody. And I'll be off. It shouldn't take more than a few days. I nod, feeling a hard knot in my throat. But I don't want to cry. I cried enough for a lifetime. I'll help you, I mutter. I need a new name to start with, and you can help me with that. he says pensively. I'll keep my first name. It is common enough. I don't need to change that. But I need a new surname. Have you got an idea? I ask, forcing a smile. He nods, with a mischievous expression. What about Granger? I succumb to tears immediately.